Who killed the peace initiatives? Andrew, the villain behind. The signatories of the circular of June 9, 2024 says it is the non-ecclesial and unreasonable demands by certain leaders of priests and lay faithful that scuttled the priests' efforts in the Syro-Malabar Church. What is the truth behind this statement? Which party was so obstinate to reject any happy conclusion? Who is now after the cry of excommunication of the priests of the Archdiocese of Ernakulam angamaly? What is so unreasonable in their demand to continue celebrating Holy Mass facing the people? Let's recall and analyze two major or more significant attempts undertaken by commissions of bishops searching for a solution to the vexing problem involving the major Archdiocese of Ernakulam angamaly. A deeper look at both missions clearly reveals that at both times it was Archbishop Andrew who unilaterally rejected the MOU, the Memorandum of Understanding brought about by the commissions in consultations and dialogue with the priests of Ernakulam. The first attempt was made when the Syro-Malabar Synod was still in its August session. A 9-member delegation of bishops was deputed to meet the priests on August 25, 2023. This commission, under the leadership of Bishop Bosco Puthur, held day-long discussions with the members of the ad hoc committee of priests at Nivedha Aluva. A written memorandum of understanding was drafted which required lots of sacrifices from the part of priests to their demand of a liturgical variant for the whole Archdiocese. The draft of the MOU thus prepared was presented next morning to the members of the Synod. The bishops not only said okay to the draft agreement, but they also demanded the major Archbishop to forward the same to the papal delegate in Rome with a positive recommendation. The most important clause in this agreement was that all the parishes in Ernakulam would celebrate Holy Mass in the synodal form on September 8th, the feast of the Nativity of Mary. If it was a happy process, what happened thereafter was too tragic to forget. The day after the synod, Bishop Bosco conveyed the news to ad hoc committee that the papal delegate in Rome had unilaterally rejected the MOU. It was not clear at that time why it was rejected. However, it has recently come to light that the man behind Rome's rejection was none other than Archbishop Andrew, who was still the apostolic administrator in Ernakulam. He deliberately delayed sending the MOU to Rome until after September 8, 2023. Not only that, when he later forwarded the MOU, he sent it with negative and disapproving notes as against the resolution of the bishops. As apostolic administrator, Archbishop Andrew was never a man of dialogue. He had summarily dismissed all delegations of priests and faithful. More heartbreaking were his ruthless games behind the curtain to abandon the MOU concluded by the papal delegate himself under the chairmanship of the new apostolic administrator in December 2023. Bishop Vasil was a new avatar during his second visitation as papal delegate. All his efforts to listen to all kinds of representative groups gave confidence and hope to both the priests and faithful here. His intentions seemed quite sincere when the members of the ad hoc committee were finally invited to conclude the dialogue process. It seemed all the more clearer when the draft agreement concluded by the Synodal Commission during the previous synod was taken as the starting point for a new MOU. He sat all through the marathon dialogue, which started in the afternoon and ended well after midnight. Next morning, some of the ad hoc committee members were urgently called to the Archbishop's house. Bishop Vasil wanted to know the mind of the priest regarding a couple of changes to the draft prepared the previous night. During Bishop Vasil's consultation with him, certain changes to the draft were suggested by Cardinal Gujarati of the Dicastery for the Eastern Churches in Rome. All the provisions in the MOU were conveyed to larger groups of priests and lay faithful by the same afternoon, and the ad hoc committee members returned to the dialogue table by 4:30 in the evening. Each clause in the draft was once again thoroughly examined with the help of the computer and projector in the courier room. By 5 o'clock, everybody present, including Bishop Vasil and Bishop Bosco, approved the MOU. "Now it's a deal," said Bishop Vasil, and turned his computer aside. Then he invited all present to express their opinion on the reopening of the Basilica for Christmas. At the same time, Bishop Vasil entreated his secretary to get the MOU ready for printing. He said he would require all the participants in the dialogue approve the MOU with each one's signature. As the discussion on the Basilica was ongoing, the papal delegate gets a telephone message that he said prevented him from signing the MOU. All in the room were literally shocked and totally disappointed. Now, Who played the dirty game that derailed the peace process once again, that prevented papal delegate from signing the MOU? Was it done by any priest or lay faithful of the Archdiocese, as the circular of excommunication accuses? Whose project was it to turn a trivial issue of a rubric first into an issue of disobedience and yet again to one of ecclesial communion and schism? One need not travel far to know that Archbishop Andrew was behind the curtain, playing his usual tricks. Had the apostolic administrator, Bishop Bosco, not been there during the entire dialogue, then we might excuse him for signing the circular, which declares excommunication as the final solution. Now he has no excuse either. He was there all through, not just as an eyewitness, but as the president and facilitator of the whole process. What a shame that bishops like Bosco undersigns a document, apparently without even reading the same. Is such a signature even valid? How hard-hearted and vengeful must be the former administrator who has single-handedly brought the Syro-Malabar Church to the brink of a division? Is he going to get away with such heinous acts in the Catholic Church under Pope Francis?